Wigan in 2006, another £2 million pound move. And you actually, I think your second season, you got player of the season when you were playing left back. I think by that stage, maybe when you moved to Wigan, you predominantly played left full. You got player of the season in your second season. You didn't have to move too far because Wigan's only down the road, obviously, from Everton. What was it like at Wigan?
Yeah, well, I again think things were being built there at Wigan. Wigan had been promoted in the previous season to the Premier League. Paul Jewell had built up a strong squad of a real workman-like team, and he was then trying to add quality in his second season. So Emile Heskey went in, obviously signed me. I mean, it was difficult for me leaving. I'll maybe just say about leaving Everton first of all. Wigan came in and I didn't want to go. I was actually waiting international duty. It was around the transfer deadline day in the summer. We were actually due to play Germany over in, was it Stuttgart? I think we played Germany. And we were due to play Germany. Steve Staunton was Ireland manager and Wigan came in. And David Moyes rang me up and said, look, you're not going. You think about it like this sometimes. You think a manager rings you, tells you you're not going yet. We've accepted a bid from a club. And I said to him, I said, hang on a minute. How can you accept a bid from a club and say that I'm not going? Yeah. And he said, well, look, the club's accepted it, but I don't want you to leave. And I said, well, look, I'm well within my right to go and talk to them. They give me the club had given me permission to speak to them. And I felt as though that I had to, certainly respect Wigan as a club to go and speak to them and see what they had to say to me. And so I went and spoke to Wigan. I ended up leaving the international side. I spoke to Stan, left the Irish camp, flew into Manchester, went to Wigan, spoke to Paul Jewell, had me, the chat around everything. And I liked what he had to say. It was obviously a small club that was being built, nothing on the likes of Everton. And looking back, maybe I should have stayed at Everton simply because of what was about to come in the next few years. But I just felt as though that, look, I had a duty to Wigan. Financially, the offer was far superior than I was getting at Everton, and that obviously played into my mind at the stage of my career that I was at.
And Kev, can I just say this to you? And I think players get a harsh time when they look at finances and when they look. But I think in a short career, you've got to secure your future. And if you hear that the club has accepted a bid, who you're with, okay, the manager says he wants to keep you. But at the end of the day, if the club have accepted a bid, that's the way it is. You're going to be sold.
Exactly. It was. I mean, I could have said no. Any player has the right to say no to it. And as I said, looking back, perhaps that might have been the better option for me professionally. But I just felt as though that it might have been time to go. Might, and I say might. It was just, there was a lot in my head. And, it's a difficult one to think about. Even looking back now, and the decision that I made then, ultimately after speaking to Paul Jewell, I had a great relationship with Paul. I really liked working for him. And after speaking to him, I wanted to go. Antonio Valencia as well was another that had just been signed by Wigan, who I didn't know about Antonio at the time. He'd go right up there with some of the very best that I would have played with at club level. Antonio was just a brilliant, brilliant footballer. So if I look back at the side, as I said, Emile in there, Leighton Baines, Lee McCulloch, Chris Kirkland. We had if I look back, we had quality. Antonio, as I said before, we had absolute real quality in that side. So I just thought, why not? Let's do it. And I enjoyed it. And I mean, you said there as well, I ended up playing left back by default. And it was literally because we sold Leighton Baines after the first season that I was there. Leighton Baines moved on to Everton, I actually put him into Everton when I numerous phone calls with David Moyes about him, asking about him and things like this. And I said, you have to sign him. He's a top class fullback, one of the best that I would have played with across the course of my career. So I ended up putting myself into the left back position by getting Baines to Everton. It wasn't certainly what I planned. Pre-season came about where there was no one else to play in that position. I played there a little bit, and I say a little bit across the course of my career. I wasn't a great defender by any stretch of the imagination. And I ended up playing there, and that was it. And then Don Given took over as Ireland manager for a short while. He asked me to play left back in a couple of games before Trapp took over, and I ended up being a left back. And that was how it come about that I ended up playing left back. But I enjoyed it, and we had brilliant times at Wigan. I think probably the biggest club club game that I played across the course of my career was definitely the Bramall Lane game, last game of the season. 08, 09, I'm not too sure when it was, 07, 08. It was just it was an amazing game, Leon. Honestly, it was lashing rain, pissing rain. Last day of the season, we were in the relegation zone. A win against Sheffield United to stay up, put them down, and we ended up beating Sheffield United at Bramall Lane. Honestly, it was an amazing game. It was the best game I would have played at, and to be part of that as well, a little bit of history at Wigan as well was very, very nice.